The knock came after dark, soft and unsure. The kind of knock that did not belong out here. Caleb Mercer lived 20 miles from the nearest town, tucked deep into a canyon where the wind howled like something alive, and the night swallowed sound. No one knocked on his door after dark, not unless trouble had followed them. Caleb set his tin cup down on the table. The coffee inside was still warm, but his hand had gone cold. The fire snapped once in the hearth, throwing long shadows across the rough timber walls. He stayed still, listening. Out here, a knock could mean a lost soul or a dead man walking. Sometimes there was no difference. He reached for the rifle by the door, not lifting it, just resting his hand near the stock. Then he pulled the door open. A woman stood there, pale in the moonlight, her face drawn tight with exhaustion. Her coat had once been fine, but now it was streaked with dust and torn at the hem. In her arms, she held a small child, a little girl wrapped in a thin quilt, her head resting heavy on the woman's shoulder. Behind them stretched only darkness and empty land. "Please," the woman said, her voice shook like it might break. "Just one night in the barn." Caleb's eyes moved past her, scanning the yard, the shadows, the fence line, no horse, no wagon, nothing. Just the two of them standing there like they had walked out of the prairie itself. "You walked here?" he asked. She nodded, swaying slightly on her feet. The child whimpered, and the woman tightened her arms, holding herself upright by will alone. Caleb looked closer. Her hands were blistered raw. Her boots were caked with mud and something darker. Blood, maybe. The child's face was flushed, her breathing shallow and uneven. They were not just tired, they were running. The barn's no place for a child, Caleb said. For a moment, the woman's face crumpled. Then she pulled it back together. "We won't be trouble, I swear. Just till morning. We'll be gone before you wake." Caleb stepped aside and opened the door wider. "Take the bed." She stared at him, confused. "We can't." "You can," he said, firm but calm. "There's a bed inside. I'll sleep by the fire." Slowly, like she feared the offer might vanish, she stepped inside. Warmth wrapped around her, and Caleb saw her shoulders sag as if the weight of miles finally fell away. He bolted the door behind them. She stood in the middle of the room, clutching the child, eyes darting to every corner. Caleb moved to the stove, filled a kettle, and set it to heat. "There's bread on the table," he said. "Not much, but it's fresh enough." When he glanced back, she was staring at him, disbelief written plain on her face. "Why?" she whispered. "You don't know us." "Don't need to," he said. He poured hot water into a basin and set it down with a clean cloth. "Wash up if you want. I'll heat some stew." She eased the child onto a bench by the fire, unwrapping the quilt. The girl's skin was hot to the touch, her eyes half-lidded and unfocused. He looked like a man who had never learned how to hear. "No, you in there?" the man called. "I'm looking for my wife and my daughter." Caleb said nothing. "I don't want trouble," the man continued. "Just send them out." Caleb lifted the rifle, resting it easy across his chest. "They're not going anywhere." The man squinted. "You know who I am?" "No," Caleb said, "and I don't care." That angered him. Caleb could see it plain. The man smiled, but there was nothing warm in it. "Name's Jack Dolan," he said. "You've just stepped into something that ain't your business." Caleb shifted the rifle, the barrel rising just a little. "You made it my business when you rode up." One of the other riders laughed sharp and nervous. "Jack, let's just take them." Jack raised a hand, stopping him. "Last chance," he said to Caleb. "I take my family and ride out. Nobody gets hurt." Caleb shook his head. "Turn around." Jack's smile vanished. His hand drifted toward his gun. "Don't," Caleb said. Jack froze, then slowly pulled his hand back. His eyes were cold now, measuring. "You think you're protecting her," he said. "But she belongs to me." "She doesn't belong to anyone," Caleb said. Jack laughed short and ugly. "We'll see." He jerked his reins and turned his horse. The other riders followed, casting looks back as they rode off. Caleb stayed where he was long after the dust settled. Only when the land was empty again did he lower the rifle. Inside, the woman stood just beyond the doorway. The child clutched tight. "They'll be back," she said. "I know," Caleb replied. That night, they spoke quietly by the fire. The woman finally told him the truth. Her name was Claire. Jack Dolan was her husband. He had never been kind, only careful about where his cruelty showed. When she tried to leave before, he dragged her back. This time, he promised to take her daughter if she ever ran again. I won't let him have her, Claire said, her voice shaking but strong. Caleb looked at the sleeping child, her small hand curled around the carved horse he had given her. He won't. Quote, Yehicht. Morning came red and heavy. Caleb saw the riders before the sun cleared the ridge. 5 this time. Sell her, Caleb said. Now Claire did not argue. She lifted her daughter and disappeared through the trap door, pulling the rug back into place. Caleb stepped outside as the riders fanned out. Jack Dolan dismounted slow and confident. I warned you, Jack said. Now I'm done talking. You turn around, Caleb said, rifle steady. Last chance, Jack laughed. You're just one man. So are you, Caleb said. Jack drew. The shot cracked loud and sharp. Jack stumbled, surprise frozen on his face, then fell hard into the dirt. The others froze. One dropped his gun. Another swore under his breath. Ride, Caleb said. They did not hesitate. Horses spun, dust flew, and they were gone. Caleb stood shaking only after it was over. Claire came out slowly, her daughter clinging to her. She saw the body and went still. It's done, Caleb said. She broke then, sobbing into his chest. Caleb held her, the rifle hanging loose in his hand. Days passed. Quiet returned. Jack Dolan was buried on the ridge. Claire and her daughter stayed. One night, Claire asked, "What happens now?" Caleb looked at the fire, then at her. You stay, he said, if you want. She smiled through tears. And for the first time in years, Caleb did not feel alone. The land did not change after the blood was spilled. The canyon still held the wind. The creek still ran cold in the mornings. The sun still rose and set like it always had. But inside the small cabin, everything felt different. Claire woke each day expecting fear to rush back in. It did not. Instead, there was quiet, real quiet, the kind that did not press on the chest, the kind that let a person breathe. Anna grew stronger with each sunrise. Her fever never returned. She followed Caleb everywhere, her small boots leaving crooked tracks behind his long strides. She asked endless questions about the horses, the land, the sky. Caleb answered them all, patient in a way that surprised even him. Some nights Claire would wake suddenly, heart pounding, sure she had heard hoof beats. Caleb would already be awake, sitting by the fire, watching the dark through the window. He never laughed at her fear. He never told her it was foolish. He only said, "You're safe." And somehow she believed him. Word did not travel fast out here, but it did travel. A trader passed through and asked about the grave on the ridge. Caleb said only that a man had made bad choices. That was enough. Weeks turned into months. Claire helped where she could. She learned the land, the chores, the rhythm of the place. She planted a small garden near the cabin. The first green shoots felt like a promise. Anna named the chickens and talked to them like old friends. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the canyon gold, Claire stood beside Caleb at the fence. "We should go," she said quietly. Caleb did not turn. "If that's what you want." She watched Anna laughing near the creek. "I thought leaving was the only way to survive," she said. "Now I'm not so sure." Caleb nodded. He did not push. He never had. "I don't want to run anymore," Claire said. "I want a life that stays." Caleb finally looked at her. The hope in her eyes scared him more than any writer ever had. "You can stay," he said. "As long as you want," she swallowed. And after that, he took a breath. "Then you stay longer." Claire smiled, small at first, then real. Time did what time always does. It softened sharp edges. It built habits into roots. Caleb laughed more, though it surprised him every time. Claire slept through the night. Anna grew tall and strong, calling Caleb Pa without ever asking if she could. Years later, travelers would stop at the ranch by the canyon. They would see a man mending fence, a woman working the garden, and a girl racing a horse across open land. They would feel the peace of the place without knowing why. And if they stayed long enough, someone would tell the story about a knock after dark, about a woman who begged for one night in the barn, about a cowboy who gave them his bed, and how he never asked them to leave.